Hello and welcome. This is the first video in our series about Introduction to Business Accounting. This is part one, and what we're going to cover is what is accounting and why do we have it. So accounting is a way of keeping records about what happens in your business. Things like what I sold or bought, who I paid money to for things like wages or rent, how much money did I give the business from my own money to buy things, or how much money did I take out of the business to spend on my own things. So some vocabulary points here: a record, which can be a record, which is the written thing, or it can be a verb to record. So we're talking about something written or videoed or photographed so the information is safe and cannot be lost. Secondly, rent, which again can be a noun, I paid the rent, or a verb, I rented a building, is money you pay someone if they let you use your building, usually paid every week or every month. Okay, why do we have accounting? If we keep records, we can see what happened in the past and compare it to what is happening now. Or we compare what is happening in the hot season with the rainy season. Or we can compare how good our business was before we moved to a new shop compared with after. And we find the answers to these questions much quicker than if we don't have accounts. So if there's a problem or an opportunity, we can do something about it quicker. So again, a vocabulary point: accounts, which is a noun. These are the records that are kept about a business. So what happens if we don't do accounting? Many shops in Cortelet and school shops don't have accounting systems. How do they manage without them? Well, accounting is a way to keep a record of what has happened in your business. If you have no accounting, you don't know many things about your business. For example, how many eggs did I sell yesterday? Without accounting, you don't know for sure. You may count how many eggs you have before you open and again when you close. But what if some have been stolen or broken? How would you know? If you sell 100 different things in your shop, you have to count all of them every day if you want to know how many you sell every day. That's a lot of counting. With accounting, it's easy to calculate. You know how many you had at opening time. You know how many you sold or bought. You can calculate how many you should have left. And then you can count how many are left. If it's correct, no problem. If it's too low, someone may have stolen or broken some. If you don't have this system, how do you stop stealing? The usual method is for the owner or a family member to be in the shop whenever it is open. A lot of stealing from shops is done by employees, people who work there. This is why shops without accounting systems use only family members or people who they've known for a long time. Maybe someone has just graduated and they could use their education to improve the shop a lot. But if they aren't 100% sure that they won't steal from the shop, they can't employ them. It's very easy for an employee to steal from a shop without an accounting system. If your friend wants banana chips, you say she can have them for free. No one knows because without an accounting system, you don't know how many should still be in the shop. What did I sell today? Of course, you do know how much money people have given you today. But if you don't keep records of what has been sold, you don't know what was sold to get that money. Maybe it was eggs, maybe it was oil. How do you know? Without records, you cannot compare how much you sold in January with how much you sold in February. You cannot compare how much you sold in Mesot with how much you sold in Miodi. You do not know if your business is bigger now than last year or smaller because you don't have the sales information. You don't know if chocolate or ice cream makes more profit for you. So why don't shops in Cortelet keep records? The answer is they've never been shown how to do it or the benefits of doing it. They don't have electricity. A lot, but not all recording systems need electricity. And they don't have money to buy computers and things like that. When you go to 7-Eleven and go to the counter to buy a chocolate bar, what happens? They have a bar scanner which reads the barcode on the chocolate bar. See the picture at the bottom of the barcode. They pass the barcode on the chocolate bar in front of the scanner, or they pass the scanner over the chocolate bar. The scanner reads a lot of information about the chocolate bar and puts it in the computer. Things like the price, so that the shop worker can ask you for the correct money, where it was made, when it was made, even what machine it was made on in the factory, what time this sale happened, how much money you gave, how much change you received, and the name of the worker who took your money. At the end of the day, they can push a button on the computer and it will tell them how much money they should have. How do you think it does that? And the answer is because the till records everything that was sold and how much it cost. So if it adds them all together, it can calculate how much there should be in the till. Compare this with a shop in Courtulay where all the money is put in a tin. If you ask the shopkeeper at closing time how much should be in the tin, she couldn't tell you. So a little vocabulary item, till. It's just a noun. It's the machine that you use in a shop when people buy something. It usually has a drawer at the bottom to put the money in. Today they are mostly computers, but in the past they were not. And you can see the picture there. The 7-Eleven till can tell you what was sold. For example, 10 packets of banana chips. How much money you should have in the till, how many banana chips there should be left on the shelves, how much profit you made from banana chips, and which worker is selling the most and which one is selling not much. Using this information, it can tell you when you need to get some new packets of banana chips because you don't have many left, which workers are working hard and which ones are lazy, whether banana chips are making you a good profit for the amount of space they take on the shelf, or whether you should try something else that makes more money for you. And it can make all the comparisons talked about before, comparing this Friday with last Friday, this week with last week, this shop with another shop belonging to, and things like that. Why do we need all this information? As we've seen, you don't have to have it. But if you don't, it will take you a while to see what is happening. Eventually, you will notice that the shop is quieter than it used to be, or you don't need to get new stuff for the shelves so often, but the computer will usually show you earlier. The reason you need it is because it might tell you that you've got a problem, or it might tell you that there's a new opportunity for you. The sooner you know that, the better. And again, a vocabulary point, eventually, is an adverb. It means after a lot of time has passed. So here's an example. You may see that every month in 2019 your sales went down. Because the sales were going down, your profit is probably going down too. And if it continues, your profit will eventually disappear and you will have no money. The quicker you do something about it, the better. And using the computer records means you will know earlier. The next step is to try to work out why it is happening. To do this, you may need more information than the computer can give you. So questions. Can you tell exactly when it started? If you can see that it started on the 1st of February, for example, and everything was okay before that, you can look for something near that date that caused the problem. Maybe a worker left your business and a lot of customers followed her to a new work. Is it happening all the time? Is the problem only on some days of the week or all the time? Are there some things that are still selling well but others are down a lot? The result of this step should be that you have an idea about what is the cause of the problem. You don't know yet if your idea is correct, but it's your best theory. The next step is to test the idea to see if it's correct. And a little vocab point again, theory is a noun. It's an idea about why something is happening. It's usually untested, which means you don't yet know if it's right or wrong. So an example, you think the problem is that another shop selling the same thing has opened in your village. Some of your customers have moved to using the new shop. How can you test this idea? You could, for example, have a special low price for customers who haven't bought anything from you for 2 months. You can then see who comes back to your shop. If there are a lot, you can say that your idea was correct. Example number 2. You run a hair cutting shop for women. You have 3 people who cut hair for you. Each one has her own group of customers. One of them leaves your shop and starts her own hair cutting business half a kilometer away. Almost all her customers now go to her new shop, so your business is smaller than before. Here it is fairly clear what the problem is, and you don't need to test it much. Sometimes there is not much you can do to reverse it. If the company that you sell 50% of your sales to tells you that they will change to a different supplier from the 1st of September, there may not be much you can do about it. They have already made the decision. Think about the print shop near the police station in Popra. In 2014, almost all TMK teachers used the shop to print all the things they needed for school: handouts, homework, test books, etc. Then from 2015, TMK got some printers that teachers could use without going anywhere. The amount that the teachers used the print shop reduced a lot. There was nothing the print shop could do about it. TMK was not going to stop having its own printers because they were too useful. So now you've tested your idea about what the problem is, and you are happy that it's correct. So now, next step, you have to decide what to do about it. And the problems divide into 2 groups. Firstly, ones where you can do something to fix the problem. And then, if that's the situation, the next question is, what will we do to fix it? Or the second kind, ones where we can't do anything to fix the problem. And then the next question is, how can we still make a profit in the different situation that we are now in? So firstly, an example of a situation where you can do something about it. If people are leaving you to go to another shop, you have to ask again why. Are your prices higher? Is your shop dirty? Are your workers unfriendly to customers? Is the other shop in a better location, maybe nearer to a school or office where most of your customers come from? Some of these you can do something about. You can change your prices, you can improve your workers' attitude, you can keep your shop clean. Others you can't, like your location. And then the second example is something that you can't do much about. So what we can do about it is that we can still make a profit. If you are the Popra print shop, you might change your products. TMK teachers don't need much printing anymore, but maybe they need to bind books more. Maybe they will buy more paper. Maybe you need to make a relationship with a new group of users like the police who will start to use your shop. And just a quick vocabulary point there, bind, which is a verb, something you do. It's to make a number of pieces of paper into a book, usually by joining them together at the left-hand side of the page. So the process is like going to the doctor. When you go to the doctor, the first thing they do is to take your temperature, maybe your blood pressure and your pulse. And then the doctor asks you a lot of questions, like, when did the problem start? What part of your body does it hurt? Your chest, your stomach, your head, etc. And again, vocabulary point, blood pressure means how quickly your blood is moving around your body. They put something around your arm to test this. And pulse, which is a noun, is the number of times your heart beats every minute. So when the doctor knows the problem is in your stomach, she will ask you some more questions. Is it worse after you eat something? Do you have diarrhea? Do you do poos every day? Are they solid or not? Where exactly is the pain? And then they may want more tests about your stomach, or they may have worked out what the problem is and give you medicine. So the doctor and the businessman are doing the same thing. They start with some information. So for the doctor, it's temperature or pulse or blood pressure, and for the business, it's accounting records. And then they ask questions to find the problem area. Is it the stomach, the head, or the lungs for the doctor? Or is it sales or margins or overhead for the businessman? Overheads and margins we will explain a little bit later. So margin is basically the difference between what a business buys something for and what it sells it for. Once they have found the problem area, so the stomach for the doctor or the sales for the businessman, then they ask more questions about that area. Is it worse after eating, or is another business taking your customers? Then they may want more information about that area, more medical tests like a blood sample, or more accounting information like checking which products are affected. Or they think they know what the problem is, so they do what they can to fix it, which might be medicine or an operation for the doctor, or it might be a new sales promotion for the business. And on the vocabulary front, an operation, as used by doctors, is a noun when they have to cut your body open to fix the problem. So the big idea here is that the business cannot follow this process if it doesn't have good accounting records. The accounting records are like the medical tests the doctor does. Without them, it's very hard to solve the problem. And that's the reason that we have accounting. And a final vocabulary point, process is a noun. It's a series of steps to get something done. So the big idea here is that the business cannot follow this process if it doesn't have good accounting records. The accounting records are like the medical tests the doctor does. Without them, it's very hard to solve the problem. And that's the reason that we have accounting. And a final vocabulary point, process is a noun. It's a series of steps to get something done.